You're watching Network Radio. Live from the Media Broadcasting Center.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Walking the Talk. I'm your host, Mark Fangeli. If I can get my little button to switch over here, which I finally did. Um, Welcome. It's already the 13th. This is kind of unbelievable. For myself, anyway, I've only got a few more weeks to get the rest of the work in to survive for the winter. Uh, so we're trying to do that as we get everything else going. Um, so hopefully another 3-4 weeks, and I'll be up at the other property and up there full time, uh, God willing, and everything going a little better where I can dedicate full time to things again, and back to the website and get that going and finally off my plate, um, which I'm looking very forward to. Tonight, I just wanted to touch base a little bit and staying a little bit more on the proactive side than from last show. Um, I wanted to touch base because I noticed a few days, and I think rhetoric is really starting to peak up here now in the different posts and so forth. And I wanted to just to kind of encourage people of kind of not setting back anymore and taking a uh, say a much more progressive look at things than maybe that we're used to. We've been kind of, well, I'll speak for myself, kind of much more patient and trying to communicate and appease everybody and so forth. And I think a lot of that time's over with now. It is for me anyway. I still want to be as best communicative as I can and so forth, but um, you know what? This self censorship and everything else doesn't work as well. And I guess it's always the trick about finding balances between things. Um, you take your positions on things and so forth, and it does cost you friendships and people around you and so forth. But I submit they weren't. That's nothing but a veil and a falsehood in the first place. Because if these cowards can so quickly turn tail on people because somebody says something, they weren't much of a friendship or kind of any kind of loyalty or anything there. And if they can do it on that and towards principles and so forth, then that shows where they stand with their beliefs and their principles. And I'd rather get rid of them in a real hurry than wait for something more important or that actually will affect your life, um, having these people around. So I say good riddance to it. And it's pretty much a good witness test when these cowards can just turn tail and run and cower so quickly to the pressure of just very simple debates. But that's every individual's choice, and but it is finding these balances between things and being respectful to each other and so forth. I still think is important. Um, so I'll continue to do that, but I'm being a little bit more. Um, I don't want to say aggressive, but a little bit more responsive to things where before I just wouldn't say anything. There's still some things I do think giving it any energy at all is only supporting it. But I did see a couple this week, and it was kind of more because it's a flavor of things, and this was one of them that actually a friend of mine posted on. Um, and you can pause it here and read, but it basically turns down to So I'll quote here. So in the 21st century, Christians believe the Word of God is a book edited in the 17th century from the 16th century translators of 8,000 contradictory copies of the 4th century scrolls that claim to be copies of lost letters written in the first century. That's not faith, that's insanity. So, you know, again, this was one of these ones I took a few minutes to say whether to go or reply to it or not, because no matter what, you're talking about the King James Version. You can be into tens of hours of discussions about that alone. I mean, these are debates and positions that have been going on for centuries. So, what does a meme in Facebook really mean in the light of everything? But that wasn't what I was tweaked about once I saw it. You know, what really picked up out of this was these memes and these other things and these comments that people are doing are very cleverly guised to suck us into the hate, to have these emotional reactions. It's like they turned around and twisted not only the information and the facts about things, but twisted it to their worldview, which, I mean, everybody does. And I think you can on almost every topic. Um, I can take it and twist it and come up with a different view, whether I wanted to have it or I don't. So um, that's been going on and is part of the game that people play. But what I really saw out of this was then they turned around and twisted it, and then they're spewing off hate out of it. That they're not only slamming the Christianity as a faith, but they're calling you insane for even believing it, and they're tweaking this so-called evidence that they have. Which, when you read it, they're not saying anything. They're not saying any evidence whatsoever. Um, this is as bad as somebody just sitting there going, "Oh, well, the man in the sky, you believe in him, you're an idiot." So this is rhetoric out there that is just promoting this diversity and this hatred among all of us that is divisive, and that's what I ended up replying to my friend with. Um, replied to him once on the post, just saying this isn't a factual, and he came back saying, "Well, you should learn the history of the Bible," which I totally replied to him, going, "I have, and much more than that." Um, but my reply wasn't, I'm not debating uh, necessarily just the content, because anything can be twisted to whatever point of view you want. Um, but the point of this meme is that it is within inside of that promotion actually turning around and spewing out hate in the first place. Um, so where do you as an individual come off sharing this stuff when you want to take a position of, oh, um, I want to come out of love and everybody's equal and we have to respect each other and we need to I have the right to have whatever view I want and so forth, and then you're turning around and you're sharing crap like this where you're actually condemning somebody else and you're actually telling them they're insane. So, I mean, what kind of hypocrisy do you want to work on here? I think these things have to be pointed out because we're so quickly sucked into this natural behavior that we've been socially engineered to do. Um, and I'm no different than anybody else in the fact that this tweaked me right off, and it took me a little bit to go, okay, like what am I really disturbed about with this? And it took me a few minutes to see it and read through it and pick up, where this was coming off, and what comes off is this hidden real energy of anger despisement, hatred that is hidden within inside of here. And I picked up another one a little bit earlier, and I'm sure some have seen it on my page. I had to reply to this one as well. Um, they go, simple question. Would Islamic countries welcome millions of Christians? And again, just this really underlying divisional hatred that comes through with this. And even with why Pillai was, okay, simple question. Well, are Christians supposed to behave like Muslims? What's your point of this meme? Like, is your real point that we're supposed to be like Muslims, or Muslims are supposed to be like Christians? Like, this is this is such a asinine type of division, but it pushes people's buttons, and um, it tweaks them, and this is an ongoing part of this whole mind control numbing that we're allowing to happen to us, and that we're allowing um, our friends and our colleagues and the groups that we're in and the information that we're sharing and so forth, we're allowing all of this stuff just to slide around us. If we're not getting actually sucked into being partaking in it, um, we still are condoning it by not speaking up about it. And that's kind of part of what my point here is we do need to, in my opinion, to kind of start speaking up to this a little bit and um, pointing out what's going on, and I think I'm starting to find that when I'm looking at this stuff, it's challenging me to figure it out a little bit more, or think a little bit more in depth of things, um, and ask further questions of people on their posts. If I'm not quite getting something, I mean, I've asked a couple of people tonight, going, okay, you're saying kind of things, so but what's your point? Like, what are you actually trying to say? Because you're just throwing words out there and seeing what sticks. What are you point blank saying? And I'm waiting for replies. We'll see what comes out of it. So I do think it's very helpful to stretch our knowledge here and to share and start calling people on things and stop just remotely accepting everything that's around, um, which kind of just goes along with things. It's kind of like that. As Matt Drudge said in part of his interview and is going around, this Facebook and Twitter and the internet is becoming the real um, uh, slum of our society, and I don't think it has to be that way. And I don't think that that's just the end of the story with things. Um, if it is, well, then it's our duty then to upgrade it and to pull it out of that condition because we put it into there. So I would challenge it that he might say it's the slum of the internet and the rest of it, but um, I would challenge things can be much better than that, and I'll hold to that point. Another little update that I wanted to just mention tonight was, and it was in the group, but I was doing the church roof project that has been completed, as I had mentioned in the post, just for those that hadn't seen it. Um, as I said in a couple of the tapes that I made about this, um, this was one that I wasn't going to give up on for some reason. God put this in my heart to do, and I couldn't let it go, and it was going to be seen through. And this week it was, or last week it was finished. Um, so I'm looking forward to seeing some updated shots on the kids taking school and the church services being done and the progression of it being utilized for the purposes that it was. So thank you to the Lord for providing all the necessities that were required to get things finished and completed. Um, it was a definite blessing to everybody that is finally finished. So on to um, some things for this week. I'm going to be going back up to the property for this weekend. Hopefully, it'll be my second last trip. Finishing off some of the prep for the wood, firing up the wood furnace. I'm going to do some taping on that and just some of the benefits of it, and finishing off on some of the other projects that are going on. Didn't have a chance for the fall leaves last week. Been missing Karen pretty good over the 2 weeks down here, but we're trying to get some work finished, get some funds in. Um, so hopefully that um, can get done if the weather holds out here the next 2 days. But I'll be firing back up there for the weekend, and I'm going to do some taping and share those with you for next week. And I'll probably pre-tape a show for Sunday night for the Living in Faith show and get that fired up for Sunday while I'm gone. Until then, God bless. Hope you have a great week. Share things around. I did kind of include everybody in the Media Broadcast Center page from my personal page. I encourage you, please pass it on. Please join it. People do want to see numbers. They do want to see other people in it. Comment on the posts and so forth. Um, if that's not the case, then fine. Just carry on with things. But I do think it's very relative to what's going on. The other thing I did want to share before I forget it, and I'll see if I can find that again. Nope, round to that one, over to there. Pull up the third viewer, I think it was. Yes, it is. This meme I saw about three years ago, or pretty close to it. It was very relative, but I always saved it, and it always stuck with me, and in part of doing different projects and so forth. And we all know I've tried a number of different things that just didn't work out, and regardless, I'm not going to give up on them. So I did revisit this one, and I think it's a very simple pastime thing to do that anybody can do with inside of their own community and do it regularly and fairly easy. Talk to your local diner, coffee shop, whichever one you want. But I really like the idea of passing on these pending coffees and even like a pending lunch or a pending lunch special or so forth. Um, so these are one of the things that I'm going to be starting to work on in the community that I'm moving into. And it's something that I really think can benefit everybody um, that gets involved in both heart and mind, and our ability to um, help out our fellow man here a little bit. I don't think it really takes all that much. So until then, God bless. Have a great week. Living in Faith is on Sundays at 7 o'clock. So please join me for that on Media Broadcast Center. Until then, God bless. Reach out and help somebody try to be a little better tomorrow than we are today.